Hey, my brothers and sisters, your boy Zach, and welcome back to some more ZZ. So I'm just gonna say it. I do feel like Yixuan's sister, Yijiang, used the Qingming sword wrong. I feel like she did not use it properly, and that is why she lost her memories, went berserk, affected other people, and everything else. I only say this because of what we saw in the flashback. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% her fault because I feel like it's more of a ideological issue with how every one of the leaders thought of how you used said sword, which if you haven't gotten to that part of the story or if you just skip through the story itself, the Qingming sword is the sword that the Grand Master of Yongkai Summit gets that essentially gives them the power equal to a Void Hunter. Literally, it does say that it gives them the power equal to a Void Hunter. So it would seem that it is the equivalent of the Hoshimi family's blade that currently Miyabi has as well. So there could be more of these swords. As of right now, we see that there are two of them. These very powerful weapons that just have something dormant inside them that have astronomical power mixed with some kind of demon thing inside. How it got there, we don't know. But there are some cheeky things going on inside of these blades. Now, when it comes to the Qingming sword, all we know right now is it just consumes memories or just pure power. But at the same time, we also know that the techniques that Yixuan have were actually taken from the sword itself, so that ink stuff has to do with the sword to some extent as well. And I say it's kind of an ideals issue because every one of the masters had the same beliefs that for this great power, the memories must be sacrificed, that being the master themselves' memory. But we know that this blade can affect other people. Because if it simply drained the user, why would it even have the capabilities of taking other people's memories? And or sealing, because it's more of a sealing thing, because the fact that Yixuan could re-see the memories again. So again, if it truly just ate away at only the user's memories for pure power, why can it affect other people? I don't think that's 100% the case. I feel as though the sword literally can just power itself by devouring memories. But since the people who use the sword believed that the only way to power the sword was the own weirdo's memories, then, it was restricted to only doing that thing. But once it goes berserk, then it's no longer bound to said holder, and then it can affect other people, which is why when it does go berserk, it, removes memories of other people, proving that it has the ability to consume other people's memories. And it's not even as though the memories are actually being consumed. It's more like a sealing of memories because Yixuan is able to recall her memories when the bird spirit thing, reveals to her what her sister once said to her. And whether that spirit bird thing is her actual sister's spirit or not, because she does say that her sister said, keep this bird alongside you and I will always be with you, things like that. We don't exactly know exactly everything that is 100% going on. But we do know for a fact that that sword can affect other people, and I would argue that instead of using the wielder's memories, it could 100% use other people's memories to power itself. But again, that's why I say it's more of an ideological issue, because everybody in the Yongkai Summit probably believe that this is the cost of said power, but in fact the cost doesn't actually have to be paid by the user, because simply sealing or taking anyone's memories would be considered the cost of the power. Now, they probably don't want to harm other people's memories, but at the same time, if it's a bad guy, just lock away all evil memories, and then they just a vegetable and they can't really do much evil anymore. Yeah, but no, the Qingming sword itself is very reminiscent of the Hoshimi family sword, which in their case they also have a price to pay when it comes to their power. The sacrifice that they end up having to make. But Miyabi proves that these things inside these swords can be reasoned with. So how Miyabi made a new deal with her sword, Yixuan's sister could have made a whole nother deal with the sword herself. They just didn't take that time to look into what actually is inside the sword, to then speak to it, to then make a new deal and prevent the constant cycle of master uses sword, drains himself of memories, then goes berserk and causes issues. Now, maybe they didn't want to because, they didn't want to harm other people, or maybe this was the deal they made themselves. Don't know. But all I'm saying is, I don't believe she had to consume her own memories to then, have all this happen, because if one has to consume their own memory and then eventually they go rampant and destroy everything else, don't they just inevitably become a bad guy? Like, doesn't do the past leaders just stop right before they just lose everything and okay, it's time for a new leader? Since the hollow break was happening, that she didn't have that choice to try to give the sword to another person, and then in turn she just had to go until she just lost it all, because at the very end we saw that her sister's still alive. She's just a complete ethereal now, and her sister probably still has a sword, because even though the sword is brought up, we don't see the sword. Each one doesn't say that we still have the sword, that we got it back. All we know is that her sister is the last one that has a sword, went berserk, affected her memories. Yixuan was the only one who survives out of that entire thing. And then her sister is just now ethereal, and I don't think she knows that her sister is ethereal. So probably what's going to happen is we're going to fight her sister. Obviously, that's going to 100% happen, or else they wouldn't have showed us her sister. But we're going to fight her sister. Belle or Wise, whoever your main character is, will purify the sister, and she'll be back to normal. Because we've seen Belle and Wise, purify Vivian when she's about to go through ethereal corruption. In the process, but we are at Young Summit to get full mastery and training of our abilities. So I believe what's going to happen is once we do have that better hold on our powers, we will then cleanse her sister, get the sword back, and then happy ending for Yixuan and her sister. I can see that happening 100%. But yeah, no. I just had this thought that that sword definitely was just used the wrong way. Because I don't think she had to, consume herself. When she could have consumed other people, and you'd be like, well, that doesn't seem like something a good person would do. But at the same time, her sister didn't save those people for the greater good. She did that so her sister would be safe. That's all she did it for. Yeah, but these are the thoughts that came to my head when I initially saw everything that was transpiring. I was giving it time for people to, experience the story and not give out any spoilers or anything else. But I feel like it's long enough for people to have played it, seen it, everything else. So, yeah. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell me what you think about the idea and if you think I'm crazy or wrong. Anyways, I will see you on the next one. Love you guys, and bye-bye.